Hangout. I'm here with Will Stroll and Aderson Oliveira. Will, why don't you kick us off this month?
Hey everybody, thank you for joining us, and it's great to see you again, Joe. Hope everything's going okay. But I'm Will Stroll with Hotcakes Commerce, and we'll introduce our speaker in just a moment. But we have a nice set of hangouts coming up here very shortly. So tentative dates currently. We don't have the dates locked down just yet. It's kind of hard to get dates locked down at this time of year. But in January, it's looking like we're going to have the Lopez brothers from Inno Software, Aaron Lopez, who's a former a contestant for the DNN Superfan contest a few years ago, and his brother. They run Inno Software, and so we're toggling between two different topics right now. But the reason they came up is because of some really a site they released recently where you can almost not tell it was DNN even by the source code. Like it was crazy. You look at the HTML source, you're like, wait, is it DNN? Oh, it is. It was really nice.
That was a really awesome site.
Yeah, and I probably should have chose that for this month's side of the month, but we got another site to show. And then on February 10th-ish, we're going to talk to Jared Shockley. So he's basically a Microsoft technology junkie, but he's going to talk to us about DNN and Azure, and so that's going to be a pretty cool topic. And with that, let's go ahead and, so that's our next announcement. Let's go ahead and introduce our speaker. So we have Mr. Aderson. Well, you know what? I got something for the last name there, but in just a second. But we have Aderson joining us, and he's joining us from a little town called Ajax. Yes, that Ajax in Canada. And so that's pretty interesting. But basically, if you haven't heard of Aderson, he's the chief editor at DNNHero.com, among some other things. We're going to get into that in the interview in just a moment. But if you haven't heard of him, he loves creating some video tutorials about DNN. He's been doing co-hosting a regular series on DNNHero.com with one of our DNN MVPs, Scott Wilkinson, who you might know as .NET Nuclear. But if you haven't heard of him, check out DNNHero.com. And actually, I forgot one thing. I should put that on the agenda. But if throughout the duration of this hangout, if you want to ask any questions, ping myself or Joe, on Twitter, or you go to or ask questions directly on the DNN Hangout page, and we'll go ahead and ask those to Aderson or bring up the topics that you bring up. All right, but with that being said, welcome, Aderson. And before you say too much, the one thing I want you to do for us, and this is mainly for my benefit, is it would be nice to have a tutorial on saying your last name, because I get it wrong way too often.
Okay, so I have an idea about that, Will. I mean, I have a site called mynameisnotanderson.com, and that explains why my name is not Anderson but Aderson. But I need to add an audio file there just for and I'm gonna say especially to Will Stroll. This is how you pronounce my last name. So again, Aderson Oliveira, but very nice try. I mean, you were doing just fine.
Oliveira.
Oliveira.
You get it? Oliveira. Okay, I'm gonna have to try to remember that. Oliveira. All right, Joe, you can hold me that.
Those of us who have a little bit of Spanish background didn't have too much of a problem, but
well, I for some reason in my head I keep thinking the I's before the E, and so I always do that. But
I know because that's the Spanish the Spanish way of putting that, but not the Portuguese way. But that's fine. No, I mean, call me anything. I mean, call me and I'll answer.
So you're bringing up something I wanted to talk about. You are a fellow that's from Brazil, but you live in a place called Ajax. Where's Ajax?
Okay, so let's get started here. So I'm just outside of Toronto, but I'm actually Brazilian. Now, you guys put me in a very hard spot to be, because last month you had Daniel Miller, and I have not lived with naked people. I have not. Sorry about that. I'm very sorry about it. But hey, okay, so wait a second. Does it count pretty girls in bikinis, in very tiny bikinis? I mean, does that count?
I was about to say that that culture is like half naked.
And a large part of Brazil is jungle, so.
See, but you have the coast there, and in the coast, people don't wear too much, clothing, So again, maybe I'm not fully naked. We're not fully naked, but very close to that, So again, I'm
with the guests here, Will.
Yeah, we'll have to do some better filtering on the guests before we actually announce them, huh?
Should that be a requirement to be around naked people or nothing?
That'll be part of the questionnaire. Have you lived with naked people?
Not it. But anyway, so I'm again just a bit more serious now. I'm Brazilian. I'm living in Canada for the past. I've been living here for the past 13 years. Yeah. So why did I move from Brazil to Canada? I don't know. I mean, my wife asks me that question all the time, but I'm still trying to come up with the best answer here. But yeah. But again, I love Canada, and I mean, with or without winter, I mean, I still love the place. I still love the country.
Yeah, I don't like talking about winter.
Like you, I mean, again, we are already below 0, Celsius.
Oh boy. Okay, so Ajax, that's near Toronto.
So that's just about 30 kilometers from Toronto. It's Toronto suburbs. It's called the Greater Toronto Area. And we actually used to have I can still say that we have a user group here. It's not very active right now. And here, I mean, in the Toronto area. But yeah, it's not very active right now. So yeah, I live here, operate from here, and whatever you guys see coming up on dnnhero.com, it's what I'm doing here from the little Ajax,
Nice. It's a nice place that I would like to put on my addresses. I don't know about you, Joe.
Yes. Well, it's just across the Lake Erie from me, so it shouldn't be too hard of a trip.
There you go. You need to present at the Toronto User Group. And I was going to bring that up as one of the last items to talk about, but so what is the news with the Toronto User Group?
The Toronto, you know what? I have to talk to the president, I mean, the president is my partner in crime, Paul Scarlett. I don't know. I cannot talk much. I mean, he is the guy, so I may have to poke him a little bit to see, okay, Paul, what's going on? So,
but I thought you're in Canada. Don't you guys have prime ministers and not presidents up there? Is that?
I was totally going to go there.
That's a good. We may have to rename him as a prime minister of our user group.
Nice.
Oh man. So let's kind of back this up a little bit. So did you always use .NET? Because I saw something about like a Watch PC in the early days of when DNN was first coming out there. Well, what is this Watch PC thing?
You went very, very way back. I mean,
yeah,
you did some nice research there. Okay, so Watch PC used to be a company that I used to work in Toronto when I came to Canada. So I stayed there for about 2 years, and then I moved on. I mean, I don't know where you got that. Maybe in my LinkedIn profile. Okay, that's one. But anyway, I was just an employee there. It was just a development gig. I was always on the Microsoft stack. I have been, doing Microsoft stuff since 1998. And again, when I came to Canada, I started to develop on .NET, and I moved on. In 2006, I got in touch with DNN. I mean, do you want to hear a little bit about that?
Well, I am coming up to the DNN question, but so you always did .NET. So how did you find DNN? Okay,
so back in 2006, I used to work for this organization here in Toronto, and they were looking for a CMS platform to distribute through their franchises, and they had about 1,100 franchises all over the globe. And there's a company that came in to do the assessment of CMS out there, and that company was no more or less than PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers. So they came in, they did the research, and they said that, hey, you should use DNN or .NET Nuke because it's it's the mostly adopted CMS on the Microsoft stack, and we were a Microsoft IT shop. So they said, you know what? Let's use DNN. And hey, by the way, you, Aderson, you should be the one heading this project, you know. So I was pushed into DNN, and initially, you know, I don't like CMS. You know, I'm a guy that came from a background that you had to build everything from scratch. And so how come this thing has all those elements already there? I mean, don't we have to build that ourselves? And you know, I started to get in touch with the technology, the platform, to understand the ins and outs, to understand that if you do this, this will break. If you do that, this will work. And I got used to it. And yeah, so that was 2006. DNN, I think it was the first or second version of DNN 4. So I came to hate, but then I came to love it, you know.
That so reminds me of an old boss I had who walked in and dropped this product on my desk, a little thing called NCSA Mosaic, back in the early 90s, beta of that software, and here we are 20 years later doing web development. So
wow. So we're trying to like lower the average age of our demographic, Joe. That's just not helping. So besides DNN Hero, because that's, well, actually, first of all, like, tell us about DNN Hero. What is it?
Okay, so let me get something here. I'm gonna go off camera for 1 second. This is the cape, okay? So this is my hero cape. In any case, I'll explain in a second. Okay, so DNN Hero. Back in 2010, actually back in 2009, I decided to move on to the organization that I was working for, doing DNN development. And I said, because of all the experience that I had gained on the platform, I was working from 2006 to 2009, so just about 3 years straight with DNN. So I said, you know what, with all this knowledge that I have acquired working on the platform, I better just focus on this platform and do my own thing. So that's what I decided back in 2009, end of 2009, just about 5 years ago. I decided to go on my own and do my own thing. So my own thing is we were really doing web development for DNN, module development, module support, and again, very low profile there. But I decided to establish a brand, and again, that's when DNN Hero came up. A friend of mine used to call me her DNN Hero, and that's the same friend that gave me this nice cape that you guys just saw. And I said, why not? I mean, I'm going to check if dnnhero.com is available. And it was available. And I said, no, why not? That will be the brand that I'll be be using. And initially, it was more of a, I got in touch with this video production thing, and it clicked very well with me. So I enjoyed very much the process of explaining people how to do things and recording that. And I said, you know what? I'll just go around and I'll just keep producing some interesting content for the DNN platform, explaining people how to do things. And through that channel, business started to take off. And today, what I do is I do DNN Hero, the video side of things. And that brings me a lot of visibility, a lot of exposure, and that brings clients, brings projects, and by clients I mean support clients, module development clients. Yeah, and again, I live DNN 24 hours.
So that brings off some of the other business that you have, and so what is it besides DNN Hero that pays the bills? Is it the consulting business?
The consulting business, it does. I mean, that's what it pays majority of the bills.
And I have an interesting question here. Is that consulting business centered mostly around DNN, or is it just partially? Because I did notice this other thing called Tut Hero. It looks like it's a WordPress thing. What's up with that?
Okay, so you want to go that route? Okay, so let's call it. I was not pushing that agenda, but you did. Okay, so. No, so project-wise, it's only DNN, and that's pretty much myself and a few external resources here and there. no, I don't play around in terms of my own development time with other technologies, so I don't do anything else. But I decided to, because I was doing this thing with DNN on the DNN ecosystem, everything around DNN, and I said, you know what? Why not dip my toes on doing some educational content for some other CMS as well? So that's what Untitled Hero is. It's just an extension of this brand, but for other CMSs. That's about it. So, and it's just an initiative that I have started maybe 5 or 6 months ago. But that's about it. So me personally, my own effort, myself typing code, DNN, DNN, DNN. That's it.
No, I was just ribbing you mostly. So what's the future of DNN Hero? Is there like a roadmap? What's the vision?
There is actually. Before, at the beginning, I used just to, whatever comes to mind, whatever interesting topic, I said, you know what, I'm going to do a video on this, I'm going to do a video on that, and a video on this, and on that. Now, I'm shifting the focus to be more geared towards full start-to-finish courses that people can really start here and finish there. And this is one, big topic, like basic DNN administration. Here is a set of videos. Advanced DNN administration. Here's another set. Basic module development. Here's a set that is done by Scott Wilson. Here's another set for advanced module development. I want to make it more course oriented instead of one-off tutorials. That's the big thing that that I still need to get a bit better organized there, but that's what I want to push forward. It's really better content. It's really more structured and more progressive content. At some point, I really want to do some sort of and again, that's a long shot, but I really want to do some sort of a certification that you have some, not only training part, but you have some, some questions, some quizzes and questions that we can attest that, hey, this guy did so this well on this test, and now we have a seal of approval, something like that. So again, still on the educational side of DNN, but I want to explore a little bit beyond that. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much what's on the roadmap.
So if Joe wanted, he could take a course and become a DNN Hero.
I mean, he's my hero, right? But that's okay.
All right. So you were just at DNN Con down in South Florida in West Palm. What did you think of the event?
Awesome. I mean, that's one event that it doesn't matter what, I will be there unless I'm sick or but I'll be there every year because. I mean, not only because of the one-on-one contact that you have with people, but I mean, interesting things like the keynote from Joe and the presentations as well. I mean, I was looking forward, Joe, to your keynote, and again, that brings a lot of light in terms of what's coming next to DNN, and so that's huge. And again, the networking, the one-on-one contact with people that like Scott. I mean, that was the second time that I saw Scott in person. And we have been working for over a year. So again, that's one place that we have a chance to talk one-on-one with those guys, And again, that's priceless. Maybe I wonder if we at some point we'd have enough juice to go 2 days, instead of. Although I know that there is a training on one day, but maybe at some point we have enough juice to go 2 days,
Yeah, we just got back some of the surveys, and that's something that people keep saying is they would really like an extra day. So who knows? Maybe that's a clue for the next organizers, which could be the Toronto user group for all we know, right?
Okay. Let me poke Paul. I'm poking Paul.
I hear there's a guy up in Nova Scotia who might be able to give you some hints on how to run a DNN Con up in Canada.
That guy, what's his name again?
Gifford. How could you not get his name?
Gifford. I mean, he's a great guy. He's a character. Gifford. Sorry about that.
But you have a bar that he put out there. He's the only person to have an actual DNN commercial broadcast over a public channel.
Really?
Yes.
Today, today. It was pretty cool. It was a radio commercial. Yep. So so that's basically all I have for the interview at this point. Because but do you have anything else, Joe?
No, I think we're running a little long in that segment.
Yep.
And, so we're
Sorry about
good.
that. No, I rambled too much.
No, it's good. It's all good. It's you know, one of the things that we don't get enough of in DNN community is hearing about the history, not just of the company or not just of the platform, but of the people. You know, that to me, I find that very interesting, and because everyone has their own story to tell, so I'm fine with it.
Yeah, indeed. So the next portion would be our news segment, and so we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that have happened over the past month. And so I have some things queued up, and if you guys have some things queued up, feel free to jump in as well. But there weren't a ton of announcements out there, but there are some things that happened, and so I think like 1 or 2 days after the last Hangout was DNN 734 getting released, right?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. It was the following week, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, how are we doing? Like the release is it being well received?
734 is actually a pretty solid release. We've gotten the highest reviews on Codeplex that we've ever gotten for any review. So it's pretty stable. We've gotten most of the kinks worked out of the Telerik RAD editor in terms of the current implementation for DNN 7. So very happy with the 734 release. I think it was a good solid release for us.
Nice. We also something you were telling me yesterday, day before, was you're tired because you've been up all night trying to go through pull requests. Tell us about the pull request conundrum.
Yeah, so we're pull requests are kind of going nuts here right now. Last couple of months, well, we've been on a big push since August to really you know, change the way we run things in community and to really get the focus back on the community and community contribution and community ownership of the platform, and you know, it takes a few months for those things to turn around and to change, but we're seeing that now. We're getting 1 and 2 pull requests a day at this point. Some days, you know, 3 and 4 could make up for the weekends, but right now our average is over the entire month of November, we averaged 1 pull request a day, and that's only going up. It's accelerating. We're seeing. We even have, as part of the community news on that topic, is we've got a hackathon coming up that Engage is sponsoring and holding this week down in St. Louis, where they're going to be working on CK Editor and a bunch of other pull requests to try to get those in for 740 as well. So 740 is going to be a huge community-driven release with probably the biggest community contribution in a long time in terms of platform. Probably 50 to 60 issues resolved by the community for DNN 7.4.
If I had an applause button, I'd be hitting that right now. So
Yeah,
I just want to publicly thank everybody in the community that's been helping out with the pull request effort and either telling people how to do it or actually doing it themselves. You know, thank you very much.
Yeah, most definitely. We've got a couple of people: Brian Dukes, Peter Donker, Bichens, and Missanis, and Eric Van Balahoy, who are helping us process through all those pull requests. They are the community committers, and they basically process, review, merge all of that stuff in. So if you give us something that's not quite what we're expecting or not quite up to code standards, those are the guys who are probably going to be talking with you about it to help raise the level a little bit. But definitely very happy with where we're going with those programs.
And speaking of public thank yous, there's a gentleman in Fresno, California. His name's Sean. I don't know how to say his last name, so it's either Gahan or Gahan or something like that. But Sean, he just did a DNN session at the Central California .NET user group, and I saw that coming up on Twitter. Well, actually, I have to give credit to Clint Patterson. He brought that up, and it looks like I'll be doing a follow-up session either January or February as well. So if you're in the Fresno area, that'll probably be there in person. So that's another event. So we got when's the Engage hackathon happening? Do we know?
That is happening on December 5th in St. Louis at the Engage offices. So you can go to engagesoftware.com and find out. And we'll have a link in the show notes for that as well.
And so a few more events to mention. So over the past month, I was at I broadcast to the QC Doug some DNN database tips and tricks. You can find the scripts and the presentation on my blog and also on the DNN software blog. And then also DNNCon that we just mentioned a few minutes ago, almost every single speaker has put up a blog on the DNN software site. So go to the community blog section, and you'll find a blog post that gives an outline of what the session was and presentation materials and things like that. And I have an update in the videos. They were supposed to be out already. So a select number of sessions were recorded at DNNCon. So for those of you that did not know that, do know that we chose some of the more popular sessions and recorded those. But the school that we had this at, the university, the students are processing those as part of their class, and so they have a backlog, and they haven't gotten them ready for consumption by general public yet, but they say as soon as possible they'll get them out there for us. And then the final event I have to bring up is, of course, DNN Connect. So there's a small update on that over the last month. So it is happening May 28th through the 31st, and I think it's pronounced Malo or in southern France. I'm American. I don't know how to say those words. But it's in southern France, and they do have a call for sponsors. So you can go to dnnconnect.org/2015, and we'll put that amongst the links of the show notes following this presentation as well. So if you're looking to sponsor that event, that they do have a sponsor packet out there with a lot of great details, and they're going to have a call for speakers in February. So get your presentation ideas all ready.
Yeah, so I did have one other piece of community news to get out. We were talking a little bit about him earlier. So Gifford just had a new baby girl today. Ooh. So I saw that pop up in the Twitter feed earlier this morning. Thought that would be a nice addition to the show today. So congratulations to Gifford and Christine, his new bride. So.
Yeah, I missed that. I've been in meetings all morning. No, I'm glad you caught that. Yeah, congratulations to Giff. He's an institution in the DNN community. So some other things with news. Let's see here. If you weren't paying attention to the DNN Twitter handles and hashtags, you probably missed the Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales. NetLearn, Mandeep's, Hotcakes, and Smith Consulting all had some sales, and so you missed a chance to save some money if you didn't pay attention to those community channels. There's only a small number of releases I noticed out there over the past month. It looks like everybody was paying attention to Thanksgiving. So I did notice Hammerflex was just released. I think it was released yesterday. So that's an open source skin by Chris Hammond. We have an Open URL Rewriter. It looks like they are having regular releases because we get to mention them every single month. And DNN Blog had to release 6.1 as well, and so those are some of the open source ones I noticed. And out of the store, the only ones I really noticed were from OnUtech. The data viewer and the ads modules each had updates, and there's also a new Junji Christmas theme, I think it's called, Junji. So notice that as well. I don't know if you guys noticed any other extensions out there that might have gotten some releases that you might want to mention.
So I haven't seen a release for it yet, but 2DNN, and his name escapes me at the moment.
Armand.
What was that?
Armand Fatima.
So he's got a new theme builder that he was previewing on Twitter and the Twitter feed this morning. So go back and take a look at Armand's Twitter feed for today, and some of the work is really amazing. I'm looking forward to when he releases that on the store.
Yeah, so that would be at NoKiko, and we'll put a link in the notes, the show notes. The other thing that's coming up, I'm not sure when, but you got me excited about this, Joe, yesterday, the day before, or something. Or that's when I read it. I think you posted about this over the past month. But the Redis caching provider for Azure by David Rodriguez. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, so David's been working on that for a while now, and he said he's just getting ready to release it. He had a couple other things on his plate that sidetracked him for a little bit, but either it should be out this week or next. So definitely keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And speaking of Microsoft, this is my last piece of community news. This was major news over the entire Microsoft ecosystem, not just DNN, but it's really helpful for DNN. But Microsoft open sources .NET, and there's now a Visual Studio Community Edition that's going to be coming out. And so they took a note from the DNN naming conventions. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, Joe?
Yeah, so the Community Edition, the interesting thing there is, one of the restrictions that they always had on the Express versions of Visual Studio was that you couldn't do plugins. So none of the extensions worked, the plugins didn't work. So things like ReSharper and CodeRush, none of those products could be run in the Express editions, which really kind of limited the utility of those products. With the Community Edition, what they effectively have done is taken Visual Studio Pro, removed one or two plugins specifically around SharePoint development and Office development, removed those from the package, and released that as Visual Studio Community Edition. And that is basically free for any individual, open source, non-open source. Effectively, if you're not working in a company on commercial stuff, or in a small company, you're fine. You're good to go. If you're a big company working on commercial stuff, you should pay the licensing fee. Really, you need to look at the fine print and the EULA to figure out which one you're covered in. But effectively, if you're making money off of Visual Studio, you probably should pay the guys for a license. If not, then the Community Edition would probably cover you.
Yeah, definitely. So the last thing, do you either of you guys have any more community news? Because the next thing would be the side of the month. Yeah, what do you got?
Actually, it's just a plug here for the vendor interview series that I'm doing for the DNN store. So every month, we are picking, and when I say we, it's myself and Beth Fireball from the DNN store. We are picking one vendor, one seller, maybe a module vendor or a skin vendor, and I'm interviewing them. So I'm really going deep into how they get started and what they are doing next. So I have conversations with Bodan Litescu for DNN Sharp, Kelly Ford from XMods, Horatio Jondick from Votiva, and the last one was Mandeep Singh from mandeeps.com. So again, every month we are releasing one. The one with Mandeep Singh was just about a week ago. So again, very good to, as you said, Joe, very good to see how people got started and what they are doing in the platform.
Yeah, I noticed those. I especially saw the one with Mandeep's. I saw that when it came out. Yeah, that's a good video series. Everybody should. Bless you, Joe. Everybody should take a look at that series. It's good. So that'd be on the store.dnnsoftware.com. Go to blog. So the site of the month. Let me go ahead and just start sharing my screen. Oh, click the confirm button here. So this is a site, if you've been in the DNN ecosystem for some time, this is a site you've probably seen at some point in the past when it had like this kind of brick layer kind of look and feel, but this is Mecha New. So this is a site out of Europe, and it's an architectural firm. It's a global firm. They have over 120 employees. But the interesting thing is how well the site's done and how beautiful it looks, how much they've been able to highlight the content. Like you have the Adventure News Articles module pretty well skinned on this particular page. You have the search. This appears to be the core search to me. I couldn't find anything to tell me otherwise, but it doesn't work like I'm used to with the core search. Like if I look for books, it's kind of Ajaxified, and the search results is using all the same HTML and everything as the core search is. So this is a really interesting way to present the search. It's really nice. But other things I noticed is besides it being responsive in HTML5, they're using a 40-finger skin object, which is an open source extension out there, DDR menu. And they've done overall just a really nice job of just presenting content and information in a nice, easily consumed way. And I noticed this one out of the DNN announcements forum, and so that's where I picked this one out of, because we didn't have a site of the month submission this past month. But this month, if you want to have your site highlighted, just let us know. Hit us up on Twitter or in the comments for the Hangout.
Yeah, I actually think that site was done by Timo Brummelhoff, and I think that's how you pronounce his last name, in Netherlands. And 40 Fingers, I think, was the group that did that site. Very nice site.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they always do a good job with DNN sites. All right, so with that, it looks like it's time to hand the reins over to Aderson. We've been really excited for this one. So, Aderson, it looks like you're going to be talking to us about portal templates. So, why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Perfect. So I'm going to share my screen here. And let me know when you guys can see a DNN7 website.
You're good. Hero 1.
Perfect. Okay, so I thought very hard of what to talk during this Hangout. So I decided to talk about what I would call an underutilized feature of DNN that I don't see, many people talking about this feature, and it has been there forever. I would say that not always it has worked as well as it should, but now it's very slick, it's very consistent right now, the experience on that one. So I'm just gonna open here. Can you guys see a PowerPoint presentation?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So I'm just gonna do this PowerPoint just to guide our thought process here. So first of all, what is a page template and why should I care about it? So a page template is just a feature of DNN that will allow you to create a page and then set it as a template so it can be reused whenever you are creating a new page that requires that template. So again, and why should you care? Just because a page template will give your content editors, or maybe yourself, if you are doing that yourself, it will cut their work, I would say, in half or up to 3/4. I mean, it can cut your work very, very significantly, because once you build a page in a way that you want it to look like, you can just set it as a template and reuse it all over again. So again, you're going to be cutting deployment time, you're going to be cutting content development time quite a lot. So that's why you should care. Now, there are a few different templates I would say, approaches that comes with DNN. As many things in DNN, you have different levels there. So you have a module template, a page template, which is what this presentation will focus on, and we also have a site template. Now, let's just jump here and have a look at our demo site. So if I can bring this up, perfect. So this is an out-of-the-box DNN 7.3.4, if I'm not mistaken. This is the very latest version. What I have done here is I have created this page called Profile, which will load in a second. Okay, perfect. So it logged me out. So let me log in back here as a super user. And this is a page that I have created just out of my mind here. I just thought, you know what, it would be nice to have a profile page that has, the name of the person, some blurb about their bio, a picture, their location, a map where they're located, some of their latest work, and some way of connecting with the person. So I have placed here a lot of content, a lot of settings already on this page. Settings like, this is a container being used here on the right-hand side. There's another container being used here on the main content side. And then you have more containers here, and you have books, and you have those images. So why not turn this page into a template? Because then whenever I need to create a new profile, or in your case maybe a new, I don't know, department page, or anything that's any page that you want to turn into a template, why not set this page as a template so we can reuse it all over again when creating a new profile? So the first thing that we have to do here is we have to turn this page into a template. How do we do that? Very simple. Let's just go to pages, and actually not pages, but edit page, and let's go to export page. So this export page here is where we're gonna go to turn the current page into a template. So let's just click there, and we'll be calling this as a profile template. And you can put some sort of description here that whenever you bring up this template, the description will be also there. So I'm just going to keep it simple and keep it as profile template. I have the option to include content or not. Now, again, this is really up to you, but if you want to have the content coming up and you can just come in and modify that, then you should include the content. Personally, I would include the content because then it gives me a head start, and it shows me that, hey, in this case here, Brenda's image is on the left-hand side, so I can click there and I can just replace that image. I can see it's good to see content placed on the page, because then you just go to those modules and you start changing them. So again, I advise that you keep the content. If you don't keep the content, this checkbox, what will happen is that you will only have, in our case, a whole bunch of HTML modules there placed on the page without content. So you have to start the content from zero. Again, that's not so much what we want to do. We want to start from a page that has content. So I'm just gonna export this under folder. You can keep this as templates. This is by default the location of the templates created on your website. So you can keep that as templates. So let's just click on export. Now, what it's saying here is that a new template was created under portals 0 templates. And here's the name that I have given, profile template. If I open an FTP application, I can just, here's an FTP application, I'm connected to that site. I'm just going to go to the portals folder, to the first portal and only portal that I have here on this DNN setup. And I can go to the templates folder and I see my new template right there. It has the extension .page.template. This file is nothing more, nothing less than an XML file. And again, we have created ours, and I'm just gonna close this here by clicking cancel. Now, how about we create a new page based on that template that we have just created? Very simple. Actually, as many things in DNN, there are different ways of creating a new page by using that template that we have just created. You can do that. Actually, you can, but you should not. But I'll explain that in a second. You can do that by going to pages, add new page. And let's see if this comes up. Okay, so from here, I could note my new page. but then I could select the template from down here, template page template. If I click there, you see profile template is right here. So you could potentially create a new page using this template from this location, from pages, new page, but you should not. And why am I saying that? I don't know if this is a bug or this is on purpose, but the thing is that if you do by following this way here, what will happen is that it will not bring, for instance, the scheme that is selected when you created the template. It will not bring things like the page style sheets. This setting will not come up. So again, because of this, because it seems a little bit inconsistent, I do not recommend creating a new page from an existing template by using the new page feature. I'm going to close this. Now that I told you how not to do it, I'm going to tell you how to do it. So I would strongly advise that you just go to pages and import page. This is the option that I see worked quite nicely, worked very well for the template. So I'm going to click on import page. Now it shows by default the templates folder, which is where we have our template. Under the template drop down, I'm going to select our profile template. Now I have the option to create a new page or to replace the current page with the new template. I'm going to create a new page here, so I'm going to keep this one selected. It brings up a page name called profile template. I'm just going to say that I'm just going to call this Aderson profile. So again, I'm going to create a new page. I set the name, the parent page. I'm going to just leave it in the main navigation. I'm going to create it after the profile page that is already here. And I'm going to choose the option that says view imported page. I could go into edit imported page as well, but I'm going to just see it right away. So everything is selected here. I'm just going to click import, and let's see how this goes. Cross my fingers here. Okay, perfect. So now I have the new page. As you can see at the top, you see Aderson profile page, and then now I can start to make change to this page. So again, how much time you have cut for somebody else, maybe for yourself, just by doing that, because now you can see all the different modules with the correct containers selected, with some content there that now you can start just go to edit content and change one by one. Very simple, very straightforward, very, I mean, if you had to do this manually, it would have taken you a good 10 to 15 minutes to do each one of those those modules and do everything from scratch here. Now, of course, you still have to edit each one and replace with the correct information, but now I no longer have to think about styling this page, about making it look good, because if it's a template, it's already look the way it should look like. Whether this is nice or not, that's a different story, but for our sake here, this template is looking good, and I can just start changing this. Okay, so let me get back here to my PowerPoint and see where we are. So yeah, so we covered how to create our first template. We have just done that, and now a few things. First thing that I want to mention is that when you create a page template, the images and files that might be making reference on that page, they do not go together with the page template file, because the template page file is just an XML file. Now, that's not a problem if you are reusing the template inside the same DNN site. It only becomes a problem if you want to get that template and move it to another site. Then that's where now I know I don't have the images that are being displayed on that page. So again, the point here is that page template does not include files and images, but site template does include. Site template is not something that we'll be covering here unless we have a few minutes, which I doubt. But if you create a site template, then everything gets included. Again, at the end, if we have a few more minutes, I'm gonna show a little bit about the site template. Next, this is a good one. So let me go back to the site. So what I'm saying is that not all modules share the good genes. Oops, I forgot to implement iPortable. So what this means is that not all modules are ready or were designed to be shared a page template. Not all modules will allow that. Let me here to the website, and that will become hopefully a bit more clear. So I'm just going to go to a page that I have set up here called feedback. So far, we have created a profile template, but that profile template only had HTML modules on it. Let's go back here for a second. How do I know that a module is ready to be used on a page template? How do I know that the content of that module will get exported properly inside the page template? How do I know that? This is a simple one. Just move the mouse over the engine icon here under the manage menu, and if you see export content and import content, if you see those two options, that means that that module is ready to be used on page templates. Not only on page templates, but on site templates as well. Now, if the module does not show those two options, that means that whatever content that module is holding will not get exported together with the page template. Now, I'm going to go back here to the feedback page, and I placed here two modules. One is the feedback module, the open source feedback module. The second one is the announcements module. The first one, the feedback module, if I move the mouse over the engine, I don't see those two options. I don't see the import and export. That means that whatever content gets created via this feedback module, it will not go together with the page template if you try to make this page a template. You're going to have a reference to this module, but not its contents. Now, if I scroll down under the announcements module, if I go there again, I see here export content and import content. That's because the announcements module, and by the way, this is the open source announcements module that users that people can use that for news announcements. So this particular module, it handles well export and import of content. That means that if you are creating a page template that has this module, the content of those announcements, they will go together with the module. So again, this is just for your information. No? Yeah. So again, not all modules are created the same, and that applies to commercial modules as well. If you need to create a page template from a page that has a third-party module, you can go there on the settings and check if they have those two options. If they don't, it means that it will not get exported, not to page template, nor to site template. Okay. Let me see here. What do I have next? Oh, and by the way, for those that are more technically inclined, those developers out there, that means that if the module creator implements the iPortable interface, it means that it will work fine with the templates. If they don't implement, it means that it will not work fine. So again, iPortable, for the developers out there, that's the interface that needs to be implemented to get content exported and imported properly via site templates and page templates. Next here. Okay, let me just go to next slide. Okay, so now let's switch a little bit our conversation to commercial themes that are available on the DNN store, and how theme creators what theme creators should post on their selling pages. should create together with their with their themes that will help content creators reuse their nice designs. And that's what I'm talking about, going the extra mile for your clients, for the theme creators clients. Let's go back here to our demo. I'm going to start by mentioning a few skins that bring out of the box either site templates or page templates. Now, if I go back here to a post that I have done a few months ago about the 10 requirements I look for when picking a skin or a theme, the third one is just that. I look for skins that provide page templates or site templates, because let's have a look here, and I'm gonna use this as an example. This is a nice looking demo of a skin, and you see how nicely the content is laid out. Now, what gets very frustrating is when I buy a skin like that, I install that on my site, and of course it does look like that because the content is not there. Now, how do theme creators, how do they solve that problem? By providing page templates and site templates. How do I see that? Well, you're gonna see things like, if I go to this to this particular theme, you're gonna see things like this. See, DNN7 page templates, they provide that. I'm gonna give you another example. This is from DNNGo.net. I'm gonna give another one here from Mandips. They also provide a template here. If you have a look, includes portal templates for DNN6 and DNN7. So look, I recommend that you look for those clues on the DNN store. So how does that help me? Very simple. I'm gonna demo this skin, which is already loaded on my hero2.dnnhero.com website. The skin is already here, and because they provided templates, now I'm going to show you, at least in this particular case, how am I going to install the templates on my website so I can reuse them. So actually, let me step a little bit back here. I'm going to go back to their demo site, and under page, I see a lot of nice looking pages, for instance, about us. Let me see if this loads quickly. Okay, so this is already a nice looking page with content nicely set up there. Now, I want to reproduce, for instance, I want to reproduce something like our team, which again, it's very well laid out, but if I have to do this manually, it will be a lot of work. That's where the page template that they provided comes in place. Now, I'm going to open here my FTP client, and I'm going to jump to that Hero2 website, as you can see here. This folder has all the files that were given to me by this skin that came with this skin. Now, if I open that, again, this is just for this particular skin, and each vendor will come up with their own instructions on how to do this. But in this case, they have provided a folder that says page templates. So I'm going to open that, and I can see a bunch of pre-established page templates right here, which I can use out of the box. Now, where do I place those page templates? You ask me? Okay, so let's go here to portals. Let's go to our only portal, to the templates folder. What I'm going to do is I'm going to upload the templates that I want to use. In our case here, I'm going to use the FAQ template and the our team template. Now, because I have told you guys that templates do not come with images, in this case here, they also provide instructions that if you want to see the images, you have to upload this images file to the root file, to the root folder of your website. I have already uploaded those, so I'm not going to upload them again. Again, each theme vendor will come up with their own instructions, will come up with their own way. But this is just the way DNNGo.net had done here. Now, we have uploaded the templates to the templates folder. I'm going back to the site now, to my demo site. So this is the demo site. This is Hero 2. I'm going to create, let's say, our team page based on that template. First thing that I recommend doing is, because we have just uploaded the template to the website, I recommend that we do a synchronization of the files. So I recommend that you go to Admin, File Management, and of course you have to be logged in. I got logged out. So File Management here, and just go to the little drop down and click on Sync this folder and subfolders. So it will get this done. Now, I'm just going to go here to the home page again. I will be creating a new page by using the import page. Templates folder, remember that's the folder. If I click here, I will see, I see now the FAQ template and the Our Team template. I'm going to use the Our Team. I'm going to keep the page name as Our Team. After the home page and view imported page. Perfect. So I'm going to keep everything as is. So let's click on import. And now let's see how this page looks like. Okay, perfect. So it's looking very much like, aside from this icon here, which is not there in the demo. Where's the demo? Okay, here's the demo. There's no icon there, but that's fine. That's okay. I mean, majority of the content came together, and now I can just come in on each one of those modules, and I do the necessary change, of course, to adjust to my requirements. So again, this is so helpful. I mean, not even myself, that I mean, I have many years of experience with DNN. It will take me a while to get a page like one page like this, looking like this, you know, because that's usually why people buy a certain skin is based on their demo. So this is their demo, and this is how we go about reproducing their content. Now, again, that's the reason why providing a page template or a site template is one of my requirements, my personal requirements for a good theme. Okay, let me see what's next here. Okay, and by the way, I don't want to leave the other guys out either. So again, Mandips, they do a good job with this. DNNSkin.net, T-Works, Website Creative, those are just some of the vendors that I see using this kind of approach for their skins. Okay. Okay, so let me go back to the presentation and let's see what's next. Perfect. Okay, so here are just some talking points that I want to, I guess, finalize by mentioning them. Can I create a template on a site and use it on another one? Yes, you can, but not only the page template does not come with images, but it also does not come with the skin itself. It comes with a reference to a skin, but not with the skin files. So if you create a page template and move it to another site, you have to make sure that that second site has all the skin files. And can I use a template across different versions of DNN? Well, I would say that maybe, because to be honest, I'm not sure how compatible those formats are across DNN versions. I would be cautious about that. You can definitely give it a try, but I'm not sure what kind of results you're going to get there. Okay, Will?
No, that was great. Like, there's quite a few times where I was going to ask a question, but then you answered it. You did a great job of kind of highlighting some of these, how these are not just useful but beneficial to people to save some time. And I've been trying to tell people that for a long time, having been a trainer in DNN for quite a few years myself, is anything that's a template or reusable piece of content, use it. It'll save you tons of time, especially for some of these pieces of content where the people that might be creating it aren't HTML wizards, let's say, and they can just add that content, change a couple pieces of the words or whatever, and they're off and their something looks good. Looks like they were a rock star, right? That's good. So we didn't get any questions on Twitter. I don't know. I didn't see any on the. It looks like you covered everything. So, so we don't have any additional questions for you. Well, I don't. Do you have any questions, Joe?
No, I think he's done a really good job of covering the topic. You know, that for me, a lot of this, sometimes when you're not in it every day from a user perspective, you don't think about some of these things. So it's always good to get fresh perspective. It was interesting to see. I didn't realize that our theme developers, what we used to call skin developers, and thank you for getting the terminology in there, Aderson. But it's interesting to see that they're using page templates and that more and more of them are embracing that, because I do think it adds a lot of value when you can see a page already composed and all of the styles in use. There's nothing worse than someone having all of these containers or other page elements, but you don't know what they look like, and so you spend a lot of time just trying to figure out what in the heck this thing's going to look like when you put it all together. So,
yeah, that was my favorite tip here.
At the end of the day, I think that in a way, if a theme vendor is not providing template, in a way it's a bit misleading, because they sell the skin based on that nice looking content that it's laid out there, and then you install the skin and it doesn't look like that. So what the heck,
Yeah, no, for sure. To me, there are a lot of features like this in DNN that are just way underrated. I don't think people realize how much we leverage them from the core team perspective. When you see that site that first comes up when DNN is first installed, that's all done straight off of a skin template. One of the things that you didn't touch on that's a nice little insider tip for people to go and do some research on is that you can actually target different elements on the page to different versions of DNN in terms of the open source versus commercial. So you can actually have page or template elements that only show up when you're running inside a commercial product as opposed to the community product, and so you can sort of pick and choose what modules go where based on the appearance or the presence of those different versions. So
that's an interesting new feature. I didn't know about that either.
Yeah, we added that in because we got tired of having to create totally separate templates for the commercial products and the core platform. So now we have one template that's in the core platform, and then things just light up for the commercial version in the commercial version, but they all use the exact same template for the base install.
Very cool. So all we have to do is just go look at the site template XML, and we can figure out how to do that on our own if we wanted to.
Exactly.
Nice. And we're using site templates at Hotcakes as well. So how we're using that will become apparent here in the next, actually, maybe by the end of this week. So look for that announcement. Yeah. Well, thank you, Aderson. This is a very good topic, and you covered it extremely well, like Joe said. And it's nice to get this kind of content out there for those of you that build websites but you don't write code. To kind of start to do our signing out here, I just want to remind everybody our next two Hangouts. We got the Lopez brothers coming in January, and from Inno Software, and we got Jared Shockley in February talking about DNN and Azure, and we also have the event coming up for DNN Connect, so keep your eyes out for that. And if you have any additional questions you'd like us to answer in future episodes, or if you want to be a presenter in a future episode, please let us know. And if you have a site of the month, please let us know, and we'll get it on our future episodes. So again, thank you, Aderson. We really appreciate the presentation. Thank you, Joe.
My pleasure.
Thanks, Will. Thanks, Aderson. Another great episode. Definitely looking forward to going back and rewatching it. There's some bits in there that are definitely worth keeping and locally to reference from time to time. So.
Yep, definitely. All right, thanks, gentlemen. Great hangout.
See you next month.
Bye.